Welcome back to another lesson of the Logos and Letters. My name is Liam, and we're going to press on with this little part here. Now, just having a little scan of it. Man, pop a few course. This part is going to need a little bit more concentration than the lesson just before, because there are two more subtle points here. I would say this is like a peak of chapter 10. What I mean by peak is not like most mind-blowing, but probably the most involved, the most complex. Okay, so you have to take this step by step here. So let's look at this first part. Epidetes teresios, gaites hexios, deteranton airemenon alethes. Right? He's knocked down that Jenga tower I was talking about in the last lesson. Soft punctuation mark there. Togar me popa fiukos opsin ekain ute tyflon ute opsin ekon legadai. So, I gave that example of the last one in the last lesson, where not yet by nature, perfucos, we say that something is seeing or has sight, ekain opsin, nor blind. I gave the example of the puppy, those who know dogs pretty well know that when they're first born, puppies don't see for a while. They don't really open their eyes at all. I think kittens are the same. I can't be sure about that. Okay, so that point's been made clear enough in the last lesson, so I won't dwell on that for too long. But it was one of the distinguishing features of why this mode of opposition is not the same as the other mode of opposition, which he's comparing to, which is ta'anantia, the contraries. Okay, he's really getting onto this point. So hostougan ae tautaton toyu tonanantion on udanestin anameson. Anameson, middle ground. Okay, so he's bringing in the middle ground again. What he's saying here, okay, is like hoste and thus. All right, so he's given this example, and thus. It might not be the case. Tautaton toyu tonanantion. That these regarding these contraries, that there is some middle ground. Okay? Aluudhon. Look at all the elisions here. Aluudhon diestin anameson. But, of course, he's saying that there can be middle grounds or there can't be middle grounds. Right? They can or they can't. If there isn't a middle ground, what's the rule? It's necessary that one or the other of the extremes is belonging to the receptacle, the receptive subject. Hotangar eide pefucos eopsinekain. Once, here we go. He's getting to the meat of it. Once naturally, once by nature that sight may be had, it is at that point where we would say like that the thing has blindness or sight. Okay, that's the limit, that's the threshold. Once that puppy opens its eyes and has sight, by nature, meant to have it, right? It's in its genetic code, its biological programming to have sight. Voila, right? Then we can say that the dog is blind or is seeing. Okay, it's a seeing dog. So I'm laughing at the fact that I'm using koala as An example is a dog. Anyway, so like we can say that, and because at that point it's meant to have it, right? And before it, if it's not meant to have it, we don't say it. And it never had the sight to begin with, so we can't say it's blind. All right, it's not seeing, but it's not blind either. Okay, it didn't lose its sight. All right, a rock doesn't see. Do I have an image of a rock here? I don't know. Maybe I necessarily don't need a rock, but it's not even a rock there. I mean, how hard is it to find an image of a rock? Okay, this rock here, this stone, okay, it can't see. Do I call the rock blind? No, because it never had sight in the first place. Privation is an absence of that thing. Blindness is a privation. Okay? How can I say that this rock has a privation of sight? It never had sight in the first place. It's not meant to have sight. Perfukos. Okay? So rocks aren't blind. They don't see, but they're not blind. Okay? So let's go back to this. All right. So he's drawn that. There's a line in the sand. Once you're meant to have it, you have it. Then we can start talking about either being blind or having sight. Receptive. Kai tuton ook aphorismenos thatrum. Alle hopoterone tuken. Right? Here is a beautiful point. I love this point. It is so subtle. It is so good. He said it at the perfect time too. Right? He could have said it earlier, but I don't know. He let it build up. Perfect. Alle hopoterone tuken. Right? What's he saying here? And it's not determinately one or the other of these things. It's not definitively one or the other, but whichever one of them it so happens to be. Okay. So let me explain this really clear. Once you can have either of the extremes or the middle ground, right? Some state in between, okay? It's not determinately this or that. It doesn't have to be this or that. It's just whatever it happens to be as you find to dektikon, the receptive substance, the receptacle. Okay? So put that into plain terms. It isn't necessary that this man has sight or is blind. It's just etuken, like how it happens to be that he has one or the other. Right? What I'm trying to say is necessity is the key to this argument that he's putting forward. You know, imagine necessity is like a controlling teacher. You know, it wags its fingers at the contraries, that form of opposition. It wags its fingers at it and says, make sure you're one or the other or the middle. Okay? It's really bossy with the contraries. But necessity doesn't wag its finger at the species of opposition known as possession and privation. That's what he's saying here. And that's what he makes clear with this. This is the third definitive differentiating thing from contraries that he's brought up. He is on a roll. It's an absolute weapon right now, right? Like necessity doesn't even look at privation and possession. Privation and possession, you know, if I was to anthropomorphize them, they just go where they please. They just wander around. You know, there's no finger wagging their way. You know, so I've been speaking about blind puppies for a while. I know that might disturb some people. I apologize. But it isn't necessary that if you stumble upon a puppy, that it's blind or it sees once it's reached the proper age. But whatever the case is what it is. Right? Whatever the case is what it is. If there is a man with no hair, it isn't necessary that he has no hair. It just happens to be the case that he has no hair. know what I mean? I hope it's as clear to you as it is in my head right now. What's another just good example? I wish I didn't have to think so hard about these. I wish it just like came into my head. See, I'm looking for a bold man and I can't find a bold man, but then again, maybe it's already clear enough to you and I don't need an image. Let me just go here. Okay, so, perhaps chance. I've spoken about necessity, but perhaps chance, right? Whatever it happens to be is related to this point. And I know some Christian audience right now are probably thinking of the word providence. Is it providential? You might not say necessary, but maybe you're saying it's providential that this man does not have hair at this time. I don't know. You go talk to a bold priest about whether it's providential. He has no hair, all right? And tell me what he says. Right? So if someone complains, one of your mates is losing all his hair and he goes, I'm going to have no hair soon. Just say, it's all providence. Let's see what he says, all right? So maybe you're right. Maybe the Christians are right who are thinking that. I don't know for sure. But yeah, it is certainly related. Probably leave the lesson there. I think that's good. I probably could go on a little bit more. I'll just make the next one shorter. I think this is a great place to end on. I don't want to make it too long and too involved. Like I said, this part is like the peak. I mean, what can we take away from here? If you're just enjoying the Greek, I'm sure there's a lot of Greek here that you're enjoying. But we've just got to admire and take a step back and congratulate the philosopher for building such a strong case. He probably, you could have just left it at the first distinguishing point and just carried on with your work, right? The future isn't guaranteed, but he spent his time to keep building the case. He was obviously very passionate about this, and it must have been a hot topic at the time, but we're going to leave it there. As always, thank you so much for watching. My name is Liam, and si semper fortis in opere tuo.